Today's video is about something I call structured commitment. When we go to grade school, we're rewarded for providing information back. So we're taught at a very early age that giving information is valuable. Unfortunately, in the real world, transactions that involve money don't necessarily involve as much information as we might think. And entrepreneurs in particular are often very information heavy when they're talking to investors, and they want to share every little detail about their company and drill down in the details. Now, if we examine how money really moves, it's almost the exact opposite of what most people think they need to do. Because why? Because they were taught in grade school and junior high and high school that the more information you get, the better your grades. And who knows, maybe that works for job interviews, but when you're an entrepreneur and you have to live by your own transactions, your own sales, your own capital raise, somehow it just doesn't seem to work as well because investors can't really absorb that much information. So what is an investment really? An investment is a commitment. It's a very high level commitment. And in our cultures, every culture that has money is used as a token of this thing which we'll call human commitment. It's an aspect of our humanness. How do we get commitment? Well, it starts at a high level. I've had the good fortune to work with high-level people in a number of different fields, and what I found is they're very terse. They speak very little. They try to ask as few questions as possible. They want to get as little information as possible in order to make a decision, right? They are decision makers. And there's never, ever enough information to make a decision. So there's the information collecting process and the decision-making process. And a decision maker is always looking for the least amount of information required to make a decision. Whereas a lot of people think more information. And the kind of people that never make a decision are the people that keep asking for more and more information. There's some kind of balance between what's enough information, what's too little, and what's too much. How do you find that balance? Well, you start with a very high level commitment. Perhaps you're raising money for your company, and the problem you want to solve is you want to solve some vegan issue. You want to protect a certain number of cows' lives by introducing a certain product or a certain strategy. So the commitment is we want to solve this problem. Now, if, say, the investor doesn't care, well, then they're bounced. More information is not going to help. Let's say, well, okay, that sounds good, but is it really doable? How are you going to get it done? Then you answer that question with the least amount of words possible to say, well, here's the high level plan. And then if they ask questions about that plan, now they're guiding you to the answer that they want to know to be able to make a decision. I had an interesting conversation with one of the entrepreneurs we're mentoring, and she said that people were wanting financial projections, and she was drilling way down into her financial spreadsheets and saying, well, I think the numbers on the marketing side maybe we're thinking we're going to get too much ROI on marketing. And I said to her, don't worry about that. We don't know. Most investors don't want to see your full financials when they're asking for your projections. They just want to see a very simple line, couple of lines, like what's your gross sales, what's your gross profit on those sales, what are your operating expenses, and what are your capital expenditures to get to your goals. That's a very small amount of numbers. And then you organize them by quarter, and now they're looking at a very easy to read table. Why does that matter? Because an investor is going to have their thesis, what they're committed to. So maybe a vegan investor is committed to vegan companies in general, but maybe they're interested in your particular niche, but maybe they're only interested in companies that either have this much in revenue already or companies that are aiming for this kind of market share. And so they don't want to drill down into your deep 40-line profit and loss statement or 40-line thick projections. They just want to see the bottom line. Now, if they like the bottom line, then they might say, well, okay, then I like the bottom line. Let's look under the hood a little bit. Let's dig down a little deeper. So this is a structured way of learning how to talk because, again, we're taught as a society the exact opposite of the language of commitment. And pretty much all money flows on the language of commitment. So that's really the summary. I'll kind of summarize it a little bit for you. You have a conversation. You drop a high-level commitment out in the conversation. Is there any agreement on that high-level commitment? If so, where's the next step for action? Like, okay, we're both committed to this. What are you willing to do? Like, if you're raising capital, you say, hey, I'm glad you're committed to that. You know, did you happen to know I'm raising capital? And that might be a little bit premature, depending. You have to listen to the conversation. Usually what happens, you're in a conversation with somebody, they find out what you're up to. If they're interested, they'll ask you, really, you have this commitment. Are you, if they're an investor, they might say, do you have a capital round right now? And if you know the person well, right, you don't want to make public offers inadvertently. Those are legal. But let's say somebody you know already. You say, oh, yeah, by the way, yeah, we're looking to raise some money. Or you can say, well, you know, we're getting our documents together or something like that. What do you have in mind? Like, what level of interest do you think you have in this? And what you're doing with these two people, it's like dating in a kind of way. You're asking some commitment level questions, like, do I want to go further? Right? And each step goes a little further down the commitment path until there's a real commitment. That's why they call consummating a marriage, and they use the same word for consummating a deal, because it's consummated. Look it up if you don't know what that means. But oddly, same language, because it is an unusually human phenomenon that we practice every day, and some people are better at it than others, and they get more done because they're able to harness that commitment and turn that into action. If you have any questions about this, be sure to put them below, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks a lot for watching.